Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bull Rush. My name is Schmoogedorf. I am joined here today only by Wolfman. Noirbot, unfortunately, could not make it. How are we doing today?
Sad. We're doing great. I feel amazing. I had a long day at work. It was kind of hot, but I got home early, and now I'm here to talk about things.
Things.
Stuff.
That is a word for it. Things and stuff. We're here talking today about the state of Gigantic. Specifically, we're going to be going over the roundtable discussion that happened with the beta testers last week on the 7th, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was up on the 7th. We're going to go over that really quick. We are going to go ahead and talk about, following that, the whole ending of the weekly play tests on the weekends up until we get the matchmaking bugs fixed. And that should lead us nicely into some of our small little personal gripes when it comes to the state of Gigantic at this moment, is where we're going to be going. I can already tell by Wolfie's face exactly what he thinks about what I mean by small.
They're just a tad small for Mr. Schmoogedorf right
Oh,
now.
yes. But
Anyway.
we are, of course, going to start off with our roundtable discussion, going over the major points. The first thing on the list for the roundtable discussion was the power orbs, but we kind of covered a lot of that last week with of our opinions of the power orbs and the updates to the game. Or was that last week? No, it was the week before. Was it not? It was with Azaraki.
No, yeah, it was the week before with Azaraki. The only thing I really want to discuss about these power orbs, first of all, I just want to say that these roundtables, I believe they happen every 2 weeks. I don't know for sure, though, but they're always on Wednesday, and they're always at like 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That might
Anyway.
get awkward next week if we don't have a playtest to talk about.
That's true. But I mean, it is open to the public, so I feel like it's not really discussed that much. But basically, everyone comes in and they put in their ideas, and they're just like, "Hey, so what do we think of this?" And I think this because this reason. You know, that's pretty much a back and forth banter. But these kill orbs, I want to say something that I've always thought about, but I never put my thought into it, or I never spoken it out before. Is that the kill orbs for getting, like, when they drop when you kill an enemy hero? It feels like the melee heroes are the only ones that take advantage of them, which is a point that was brought up. Like, it doesn't feel like it's fun to get, it doesn't feel like it's fun to go get the orb.
Yeah.
It just feels like, you know, it feels like it's almost hurtful to range characters, because most of the time, like, you're up in a good position, you're getting kills, you're doing damage, and then you have to leave to go get a kill, like that kill orb, and it doesn't even give that much.
Yeah.
It doesn't even give that much anyway. It doesn't really give that much power. It doesn't really get that much focus. Like, it doesn't feel like it's worth putting your own life at risk. Just
I'd
to
be
go get
perfectly
a
fine if
power
they
orb.
completely removed them from the game. Simply
Yeah.
because they don't feel like they're adding too much to the game as the kill orbs. But the other orbs do, and specifically the clash orbs are really powerful. And one of the major suggestions on them, which really is my personal opinion on them as well, is require players to channel them for 2 to 3 seconds before being able to capture them, because then you can't just run in as Trip and be like, haha, I grabbed it, time to get out of here,
Yeah.
bye, loser.
Yeah, that's
No.
literally the exact points that people have put about the Clash orbs.
Oh, yeah.
Is that they're just
And-
it's so easy just to go get them.
And then also, one of the big things they said, for the starting orbs, a lot of people disliked them, and James Finney came back, you know, the lead of product, the lead for product development, said those are removed will be removed in the next patch, which I think is a very totalitarian way of going about it. Like, oh, well, they're not working, nobody likes them, get rid of them. I think that I like the mechanic that goes behind them, though. You know, let's force a fight. Let's get something to happen here. So instead, what they should have done was make those starting orbs like a clash orb. One big orb generates twice as much power as the 6 individual orbs would have done, and force you to channel them.
So basically, kind of like a King of the Hill mechanic.
Exactly, a King of the Hill
Yeah, you
mechanic.
just
Which
kinda-
people have said,
you just
you
kinda
know,
jump right in.
yeah, which people have said, you know, that's something people want, that's something that'll work, because on the previous map, Mistforge, if we played on it before, that sort of King of the Hill thing is already kind of forced in there, because you have to choose at the very beginning of the map one of 2 central points that honestly kind of force that sense of, like, especially with Clash, you know, it forces you to have to fight up there, and that's what it was.
It's called Waterfall, thank you.
Waterfall. Nuh-uh. Sorry. Like, Clash, because we call it Clash. It's Clash Point. There's a team named after it.
I know.
Anyway, you're kind of forced to fight over that. You're kind of forced to fight over that because of how good it is, and that speaks to the issues of the map. But, and we'll get to that whenever they decide to bring back Mistforge. But, that's kind of... you know what that Herder moment was.
Yes,
but,
it's a
it
fallen
was...
angel.
Yeah, but, it's a very interesting sort of an idea to have that kind of mechanic at the game, the King of the Hill mechanic, because that forces a fight between the two teams, instead of the biggest issue with Canyon before was just the sitting back and waiting for somebody to get the first, pick, really.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, we got the pick on this person. Let's all just, set up a camp in the middle of our vista or intake point and then not do anything until the first bush. Because
I mean, you gotta like that's the point of these spawn orbs, right? Like they're supposed to be there to kind of promote early team fights and that's the thing about an action game. They don't, but that's the point of an action game is they want to start the action and have it be constant. You want to rush in it paints the picture itself. Like you're starting off on this battleship. You're flying in as a group of 5, and then you go on these jump pads and you instantly charge in, and then you summon these creatures and control these points, and then you wait. It's like that's not what a game is for. That's not what the game is supposed to be. So they're trying these new things to promote early team fights, and so I like that. I really do like that. It just needs a little bit of extra, stuff put in.
Yeah. But moving right along, we do have the other quick little things. Yeti Cyclops, we talked about being a little bit stronger than he needs to be. Having more damage than Drake is a lot, what people say. Has way too much health, so it's very difficult to get down. And sports a long-duration CC as well as AoE stun. So, yes,
we're
people
gonna
say
get
deals
to that.
more CC
We're
than
gonna get to that
Margrave.
nth dimensional, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the Yeti Cyclops, like everything that's listed here on this forum page is completely 100% correct. He has
it's also
so much health. He spawns faster. He literally jumps at you. Like he'll jump at you and he's hella fast, and then he just does a ton of burst damage. He knocks everyone up, and now they're just slowed, and he's just going like it's relentless. He's relentless, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. And then one thing is like a bug is where you can walk through the Yeti Cyclops' walls if you do it right. But that's obviously a bug. That's going to be fixed. That's not intentional. But he does need some nerfs. And then moving right along, the Autumn Bloomer creature, feeling that the players like the invisibility, but are confused how it's supposed to use because the invisibility is too short to be used effectively. I guess. I mean, one thing, I remember using it a lot, when I'm playing Mozu, and it's very helpful when I'm playing Mozu, because then I'll have 2 assassins jumping after me, I'll run through the invisibility orb, and now they don't know where I'm at, anymore. Especially if I teleport while I'm invisible, because now they think I'm running into Vista, when I just teleported towards their intake.
Yeah. I mean, if you know where the orb spawns, it's kind of easy just to... Depending on the hero you're playing, it's kind of easy just to predict where exactly you're going to go, and then it becomes kind of virtually worthless. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about with the bloomers was the fact that this was something that Azaraki actually mentioned, that healing beam.
Yeah, the healing beam.
It's really powerful, except for the issue that it latches to invisible heroes, which kind of completely negates the use of an invisibility orb and stealth heroes. But I mean, that's just something that's, that's something that could be easily fixed. But it's just really strong. It's really strong just to have a healing beam on you, and
that's kind of like what we were saying before. If you're standing inside of the health pool while the healing beam is on you, I think that's what 250 health a second for an adult person. For an adult bloomer.
So much, it's so much.
250? Are you kidding me? Yeah, like it's to the point when it's just like there's too much healing involved. There's too much support involved. And I like the idea that, it only lasts for so long. It doesn't last 100% of the time. It's not like, oh, hey, look, this person's 50% health. Let me just kind of sit this on him indefinitely. It only lasts a short period of time. But even in that short period of time is all it needs to become broken.
I think what it should do, though, is that it should actively like it has a range of the beam latch, probably, right?
Yeah.
So I think it should actively update like every second and be like, which nearby ally has the lowest percent health, and then it'll change. That way it's not like a half hero person is like getting completely like dived on, and it's just like, well, gotta heal you to maximum every just and then you're healed, like, you know. And then, oh, there was
I
something
kind
else
of
I
get
was
the
gonna say.
idea.
I liked, yeah, I also liked I liked what Azaraki said, as well, as that the babies shouldn't have the healing beam, because it's
Right.
just like, that doesn't feel like it's something that,
Yeah,
like,
it
you
doesn't
know,
feel
it
like
doesn't
something that they should be rewarded with
yeah,
because they become too strong. They become almost as strong as an adult bloomer was before, the
yeah,
changes, which in and of itself speaks to issues with, with the buff saying they're too strong. But in addition to all of that, it gives them this kind of strength of, even in the early stages, if there's at least one person there, one
hmm,
enemy player, you're not taking that bloomer unless you have at least two or three.
yeah,
So you can't just go ahead and say, "Hey, look, you're here. I already did 50% health of this bloomer, and you're just now showing up. So all that hard work that I just did is now worthless because you showed up." No, you
yeah,
should be able to barely, by the skin of your teeth, kill that thing and then leave. But you can't.
yeah, and the fact that you can't even do that to baby bloomers now is just stupid.
Yeah, you can't, like, if there's one
Like,
other person there, you can't just, and even if you
yeah,
do have two people, I think even with it's two people, you still can't do it because if there's one person there, one person's focusing that person's not going to care because
yeah.
he's got the heals.
And even if even if the bloomer does die and the person like, the person won't, obviously, because he's getting healed out the ass. But, you know, if the bloomer does die, it's just so easy just to spawn another one, because
Yeah.
you get so many. I don't think there's anyone I don't think there's anyone in the entire game that plays right now that doesn't have a bloomer in their
In there,
main
yeah, in
loadout.
their thing. Yeah.
Like, maybe
Or
there's like a
multiple bloomers on a team in
maybe
competitive
there's like a
sequences.
random handful of people that just don't have a bloomer for whatever stupid reason. But,
Well,
you
because
know,
then, like, what are you choosing over a bloomer? You're choosing to have a
yeah.
Yeti Cyclops and a Fire Drake on your loadout. Like, what's the point?
I mean, yeah, that doesn't seem that that seems pointless. But yeah, it just they're really strong.
I get what you're saying, Doug. Where
The
the
new amount of
bloomers,
heal,
yeah,
yeah.
bloomers are barely worth it before. I get that. I do feel like that, but I think this is a little bit of an overcorrection.
It's fine for adults. I think that the healing beam might be like, I think the healing beam might still be a little too strong for the adults, but the fact that the babies can literally do just as much healing as an adult for completely free, plus it spawns super freaking fast, like, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous, and
But
it
again,
needs
to
to
be
be done.
fair, before it couldn't save you, and now it can. But like we were saying, it is an overcorrection. It is an
Mhm.
overcorrection. So, and I do agree also with the idea that every week you lose somebody. This is a temporary, but I do agree with the idea that they needed to be stronger. They needed to have that ability to save somebody. But again, it's a little bit too much.
Oh,
Not only do they save somebody, they bring you back to full health and give you the ability to just 2v1 for no good reason.
yeah.
Even with a bloomer, you shouldn't be able to 2v1.
I think what Valentin is saying is that the first time he tuned in was when Azaraki was here.
Yeah,
So
right.
we
That
went
was a
from
guess.
4 people with Azaraki and Perry, and then it was 3 people with the normal group, and then now it's just you and me. So he's just like,
Well, I
man,
mean,
every
really
week.
all it's doing is forcing me to make new overlays, so that's really all it's doing. Uh, but moving right along, going into
Yeah,
the sections on hero balance. I mean, we kind of beat the bloomers topic to death, with Azaraki in there. We're moving along with it now, so I think it's time to move a little bit along. Going into
Ashling,
hero, Ashling feeling a lot better than the
Ashling,
previous patch. I do agree with that,
Ashling,
even though I didn't feel as though Ashling was weak with the
Ashling,
previous patch.
Ashling.
Oh dear.
I love her. I really do love her. There's a lot of stuff here that I definitely agree with, but it's just like, I miss the old way that she was played. I really do. I really do miss her, the old Ashley. But the interesting idea is that have Cador deal less damage the further away he is from Ashling. I completely agree with that. I think that it makes a lot of sense, and Doug is so correct. Ashling doesn't feel like she's really a hero anymore because Cador does all the damage. Kador does
A
all the
considerable
crowd
amount of
control,
damage.
and he can do it from so far away right now. It's ridiculous, and I want to see him get a little more nerfed, but I don't want to feel like the hero is completely just becoming like a I don't want to feel like they're both just constantly getting hit with a nerf bat, because that's what I feel like has been happening the entire time since their creation.
Well, and again, to be fair, like they had said before, they're doing massive sweeping changes. They are doing the big changes that are going to feel like they're massive. Just nerf bat, boom, done. You know, that's what it feels like.
I mean,
they're just gonna go ahead.
it wasn't
and
even it wasn't even a nerf though. Like they just completely changed her. Yeah, no. Doug, are you like my best friend? You literally have everything that I want to say. Like, she doesn't feel like she's a fighter anymore.
Yeah.
She feels like she's just someone there.
It really nerfed my
And
playstyle with her as well, because of that.
Go.
Yeah,
She's a Pokemon trainer. She's become a Pokemon trainer. She's just like, Kador, I choose you. And then he's just like, Kador, and just slashes everyone up. And that's
And
all.
really,
all
of her auto attacks are basically just throwing potions or just throwing X accuracies every now and again.
X accuracies.
X powers. I don't care. Strengths or whatever.
Strength.
Attack.
Strength.
That's the word.
That's the
attack.
one.
We have
attack.
it. We played Pokemon, guys. Just so you know.
Pokemans, I love them.
Anyway, moving right along. Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing with my playstyle for Ageling a lot was that I would be that guy that's like used Kador in the opposite way. Kador was an augment to my fighting capability when I played Ageling.
Yeah.
So I used him to CC, maybe do some debuffing, but that's about it. That's all I used him for. Then I would, eat him right back into my sword and then just wail on people for a while, and that'd be that. I did that since she was released. Yeah, that's how I played her, and it worked.
That's what she was supposed to do, though. She's supposed to be a pet class. She's a summoner, like she summons her father's spirit to fight with her. Right now, Kador could be his own hero, and no one would be the wiser, because all he can do is just run in and he just smacks you with the sword, and there's nothing you can do because he has so much speed, he has so much strength, and he chases you like endlessly. Like he's a fucking plague. That's what he is right now. Like he's he's comes
a locust.
in. He's just like nope, you're gonna die. I don't.
You look like food. I'll eat you. And I feel like that's kind of like a subversion of her original playing style. Like Doug said, she doesn't feel like a fighter anymore. And, like people here are saying, she's supposed to be like a summoner, a pet summoner, sort of deal. But the simple fact that we gave her a sword may or may not hint to the fact that she might need to fight with that sword. And that the ability to summon Kador into her sword buffs her may also mean that might be a viable play style.
Yeah. If they wanted her to be if they wanted her to be the way she is right now, with just she summons and then he does all the work, like just give her a freaking wand and have her shoot little magic bolts. Like that's all she needs to do. But wait, we already have that character in Mozu. And Mozu does it 10 million times better.
Yeah.
There was one more thing I wanted to say, and I can't seem to find it. There's a defensive upgrade on Warcry, which is the Q ability. That summons I think they're referring to the one that summons the bubble. And they're saying that if you have that defensive Warcry, he should move directly back to Aisling or to nearby allies, and
so that she actually acts defensively when being defensive.
But I like the ability. I like the thought of it. But the point of the ability is that even with the deflective bubble, it's still supposed to interrupt. That's what it's for. It's a AOE kind of quick suppression ability. That's what it's supposed to be. Even with the thing. I mean, if you're in the middle of a fight and you're doing that bubble thing anyway, that's kind of cool just to kind of block in everyone into one spot, and the enemies can't really support their allies, and you're like kind of acting as a frontliner, trying to disrupt their more tanky guys or like their assassins. That makes sense. But I mean, if you send them all the way out to go and peg down a carry or an assassin, and then you use your Warcry and it pulls them all the way back just because you have a defensive upgrade, that's kind of defeating the purpose of getting a pick out there. But I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Valentine, this is exactly what I'm saying. Is like, Kador is supposed to supplement her power, not be her power. Supplement, because without, you could very easily just play Kador on his own and be fine. Aisling could just stand there and do nothing other than control her. Hello. OBS, are you crashing?
Oh no, what have you done?
Never mind, it froze. It's fine. We're good.
What do you mean OBS? You're not using OBS.
Yes, I am.
Why? Oh, okay, fine.
Anyway, it was freezing. But, like, Kador, Aisling can very easily just sit there and do nothing. Just absolutely nothing, and let Kador do all the work. That's all she's there for, is to point and click where Kador... She turns into a point and click hero. Let's point and click where Kador needs to go and let him do the rest of the work. But on her own, Aisling just is worthless. Not really worthless, but, like, just doesn't do anything more than what Kador can do. So... I don't think that that's quite right. I feel like I like the direction, though, Because before, I think you had the opposite problem. Kador just wasn't strong enough to be viable. Like, Kador, again, was really only there to CC. So...
Right. Beforehand, Kador was the crutch, and now Aisling is the crutch. There needs to be a balance. There needs to be a balance, and that's what they need to do. And hopefully we can put it in the right direction.
And to be fair, I like both directions. I like them both. I love using her both ways. That was a great arm flourish there. I like her both ways, but...
All right, then. Phrasing is key. Anyway, continue.
Shut up. I like using her both ways, and... to say that this direction is wrong is just inherently incorrect. I just think that there should be a balance between the two different directions with her. Moving right along, because we have to keep this under a certain time limit, folks.
Let's
we can only bash after a topic for so long before
Griselma.
Yeah, Griselma here. We were saying this before. What do you think of competitive Griselma? Gee, I wonder.
There's so much to say. Reach out. The skill dealing too much damage
is...
I mean, it kind of,
I guess.
It does, but it's a channeled beam, and she is actively teleporting her hand staff thing through a portal and smacking you with it. Like, it's supposed to kind of hurt people.
Yeah. And to be fair, before, one of the major issues with her reach out was that personally, I mean, I didn't play Griselma that much, but when I did, I felt like using the left mouse button felt very difficult to do, It felt difficult to land the shots and to, hey, am I actually going to hit this or not? With the beam, with it acting like a beam, now I can say, hey, look, yes, this is going to hit. I know it's going to hit because it is hitting, and it's going to stay hitting. It's easier to land out now, and that means it's going to be dealing more damage, for me at least. I don't know if there's too many other people that does that, but...
Yes, that's exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, other people are saying that it deals too much damage.
The only thing I agree with...
Doug saying it lines up with other beams.
Yeah, the only thing I agree with right now is the fact that you're able to channel you're able to channel the skill for a long time, and it only uses the initial the stamina cost. I almost said
I guess. I
mean,
like,
you can hold it for a long time and do the whole thing, and yeah, you kind of you kind of move slower because you're using a beam, and you do still have to aim it. But I mean, it does last longer. It does last longer than Vidasi's and Zenobia's beam. It still does the same amount of damage, though.
Yeah.
So it's not really a bad thing, but it's not really a good thing either. Just because
I'm fine with it personally.
Yeah,
it's not the major argument that I have against her.
Stamina pool.
Yeah.
I want to say the comment here. Players feel like the damage of the hands, even though it got reduced, getting hit by 3 hands will erase you.
But that's, I mean...
That's not at all true, first of all.
No.
And second, she's a defensive point control hero. If she has the ability to put 3 hands down, that's your fault, first of all. And second of all, she's probably defending a point anyway.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that the hands only shoot in a forward cone. If you walk behind them, they don't hurt you. Plus, you can kill them because they have a low amount of health.
Yeah.
Griselma's not overpowered, guys. She's nowhere near overpowered. It's
It's play
ridiculous to think
style,
that
yeah.
people are thinking that she's super strong.
Well, and
She's annoying. I'll
yeah,
say she's annoying, but she's not strong. Not even
no.
close.
I think my big thing against that is that a lot of people tend not to play against Griselma properly, and that isn't to say that you need to, choose to play what I call the herpes strat. I like calling it because it's a fun thing. Assume
Herpes
for a
is
second.
fun, boys and girls. You did not just say that.
No, I meant the analogy is fun. Think for a second that Griselma's hands are herpes, right? You see herpes on the field, you're not going to play there. Ever. You see her hands there, go somewhere else.
Yep.
Just
You're not
do
wrong.
it. You're on a small map. You don't have to keep bashing your head up against a brick wall at Vista or at Intake. You could choose to fight at their caves. It may put you in a little bit more of a dangerous situation, but that's, Griselma doing her job. Forcing you not to fight at a certain point, and, it's area control. It's 100%. It's control of an area, and you see this a lot in other MOBAs where you could say, hey, look, they're all pushing to this area of a lane, let me go ahead and put down a whole bunch of AoE, this, that, or the other thing on that side, and it forces them towards the other side of the lane.
Yep.
It's basically the same thing. Let's go ahead and choose not to fight here. Does that mean we're going to be maybe playing into their hands? I don't know, but to be totally honest, in solo queue, I don't feel like there are going to be too many
hands.
Shut up.
Because she summons hands.
I don't feel as though, in solo queue, it's going to be too easy to say, hey, look, this person knows what they're doing, and therefore my entire team is going to focus on how their team is working because of how I've affected. No, like Doug said, she's too hard to be useful with in solo queue, in my opinion. If you play properly. I think a lot of people that say that she's still too strong or that her hands hurt too much are not playing against her properly. You don't have to fight on the hands. You can just choose to walk away. And if you have the ability to do damage against them at a longer range that keeps you safe, if you're one of those heroes like Charnock, who can just AoE damage them down, okay, do that. Do that.
Right? There's already so many ranged characters in the game. Just fucking shoot them. Just shoot the hands they're so annoying. She gets a full 12-second cooldown if you just kill one. Kill the hands. If they're that strong and they're annoying you that much, kill the frickin' hands.
I will say this, though.
Hard.
I will say this, though. While it may not be difficult to kill the hands, or it may not be difficult to think, hey, look, these are doing damage to me, let's kill them, I will say I feel like they have too much health. Not a lot. Just a little bit too much.
Maybe
they're a
tad.
little bit too hard to kill. And that, I think, is the real gripe that people have with
Just
them.
do it!
Yeah, right? Just do it. I think that is really what people might consider the quote-unquote overpowered part of the hands. It's not that they do too much damage. They do a lot of damage, but that's what they're supposed to do. If they didn't do enough damage, they'd be worthless. We saw that before. When the hands weren't doing a whole bunch of damage, they felt worthless. But then they buff it up, and now they do a proper, in my opinion, amount of damage, and now people are whining that they do too much.
Yeah.
I think the main issue is their health. Give it a little bit easier to kill, not a lot, but a little bit, and now you've got something you can do properly.
The last thing I want to say about Griselma is the exit strategy upgrade on her E, which allows her to teleport to not her hands, a portal trap. I'm just going to make that point right now. The points that people have been making on this list, it says, it feels useless to teleport to her hands. You should be able to teleport after a half second, and then you should be able to see the direction she's going. You're not able to counter it. She has to have the trap upgrade on her Q. That is the only way that exit strategy works, because otherwise she just teleports forward. And if she does just teleport forward, then there you go. You know where she went. She teleported forward.
Yeah.
If she has the trap down, sure, you can take some damage. You can step on the trap. They are visible. They might hurt you, and they'll summon a hand and move it, and then it might get healed. You can attack the hand. You can kill the hand, and now she doesn't have an exit strategy.
Yeah, it's like when people say, when they say that the exit strategy upgrade doesn't feel like it has any counterplay. I'm wondering what they assume they mean by counterplay.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there is counterplay to it. You know, something, for example, harkening back to the game we were with before, you know, Dawngate, something that didn't have any counterplay with Kendra's ultimate. Just saying, hey, look, like Trip's ultimate nowadays, hey, look, I'm invincible, doing a whole bunch of damage, and really the only reason I'm using it is either to save myself or wait until cooldowns come back up. That has no counterplay because, I'm sorry, what are you going to do while she's invincible and untargetable? And you're stunned.
Yeah.
Fuck all. You know?
That's why they changed Fiora's ultimate in League of Legends.
You know, it's one of those things, like, that has no counterplay. She's teleporting away. She's not the only one with a teleport. Mozu has a teleport. And it's not 100% easily choreographed which way she's teleporting, you know, all the time. It's roughly the same thing as Griselma.
Not to mention that Griselma has, like, again, she has to have a specific upgrade path on her queue to be able to teleport to hands. She has to actively remember to set up traps with that upgrade. And, you know, she's already super squishy. She has one of the lowest base staminas in the entire game. Let her have an escape mechanic. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because if she doesn't have an escape mechanic, then she is completely worthless.
Yep.
You know, once anybody's on, that was my big gripe with her before the change.
High horse down, stool over there, moving forward.
Right?
I'm done with Griselma. Just leave her alone. She's been getting hit with the nerf at every single patch.
Because
it needs to
stop. It seems silly, you know? I think my thing is, like, if she doesn't have the escape, you know, mechanism, you know, it's... I don't know, if she doesn't have the escape mechanism, we saw this before this change went in place, if somebody was on her and all she had was the portal where she could just go down to the portal and heal herself for a little bit, it didn't matter.
Yep.
She came back up with more health, she just died a little bit later.
Because all she could do is just kind of stand there.
Yeah. Moving right along, Charnock, HK.
Nothing in particular. I love that a lot of people are still agreeing overall that just fortifying is not worth it at all. And
yeah,
he's supposed to be that kind of hero though. It gives him more defenses.
I like the fortify though.
Some of his ability. I like it too. I think that it's a cool idea. But just right now, it's really not worth the fact that it has a long channel time, and you're completely immobile, and you have reduced vision. You have a reduced vision radius while you're in Fortify. So it's just not worth it. That's all I want to say about him.
Personally, I like the Fortify build. My biggest issue, though, that changes that the ability to use the Fortify properly, and they said this too with the Bullet Barrage, you know, the biggest issue might be the accuracy changes to the skill. You know, if you can't have that high amount of accuracy while fortified, what's the point of fortifying at all? Because you have to be, you know, close up now. You have to be close up.
Yeah.
And that completely ruins the ability to fortify, and it puts it back at the place that, you know, HK was at before, where he had, you know, the good way to go with him was the rapid fire upgrade, because you were able to do like 1600 damage with one full clip at level 2, which was broken, by the way. There was a reason why that was nerfed, you know, but now everyone's saying, oh, well, we like that because it was broken. That's not how balance works.
Samurai Ed, no, stop it. But
I mean, so you get wounds. Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, you know, HK was kind of supposed to be like a short-range, mid-range shooter anyway. You know, he has high defenses for a reason.
Yeah, you know, short to mid, or mid to long, I would almost say. You know, at least on this map.
They're completely right, and by they I mean Emph and Doug. Like, not moving will never work in a game like this, where it's completely action all the time, lots of movement, dodging, skills left and right, defending points, attacking points. Like, there's no room just to stay still, even if it's just temporary. There's absolutely no room to do it. That kind of goes into, like, Amani, kind of. But at least she's a little more open about it, because she can kind of just zoom in and then shoot and then zoom out and move. But I mean, with her changes recently, players seem to agree that she's gotten in a good place.
Yeah.
Um,
But again, like as it stands, we said this before, Imani, and even going into what Doug and Ed said, now moving the game like this will never work. Imani's the same way. She has to stand still to do damage. And even more into that, she has to wait to do damage. I think I'm fine with that. I'm fine with having to have her wait to use damage if the damage is just that ridiculous. And it is. Let's not be coy about this. 50% armor penetration is a very great thing to add to it, but I think from I guess a casual perspective almost, it does force you to
yeah.
use a certain build. And from a casual perspective, that's not something that anybody wants to see because it feels very much kind of like a League of Legends sort of thing where there are certain builds that are the ones you're supposed to take, and that's that.
Yeah.
And they've gotten better about it now, but I think really when it comes to Gigantic, we need to get away from that idea. Get away from I need to only build this one way, because if we allow for that, it allows for a really nice fluid style of gameplay and allows people who wouldn't necessarily play Imani to play her in a way that maybe she's not, intended. Or maybe,
Yeah.
I guess not intended, but, in a way that would be better for them. And I really think that the people who wouldn't be playing Imani normally are like the people who would rather be playing like somebody, who is like HK or Mozu, who does a whole bunch of damage but does it quicker and doesn't have to wait as long and doesn't have to, stand in one spot to do it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's something that they need to think about when it comes to Imani, but I'll agree. I'll agree with the majority of people. She feels like she's in a good place right now, and that her general play style is solidified. She has to wait for her damage, but when it does happen, it's big.
I'm gonna say one thing about Trip. Just one.
Okay.
One thing. The point right here. Her focus can 100 to 0 an individual hero on its own, particularly when playing a weak hero like Mozu. Now, audience, do you understand what the term assassin means? She's an assassin. Her job is to 100 to 0 someone as quickly as possible, particularly someone who's really squishy and can do a lot of damage, like Mozu. Wow! How dare she do her job? How dare she do what she's designed to do? Wow, I'm so appalled by Trip. Moving on.
Moving right along.
Uncle Sven. LB might be a little strong. I agree. That's all. Vadasi. She's too powerful. She has a 50% damage penetration. And...
Just gonna skip over all of this now. Major beats, we're gonna move along now. Okay, so like... I will agree that people saying that, hey, look, her focus could do 100 to 0 on an individual hero, and it's all like, that's fucking stupid. Like, that argument in and of itself is irrelevant. But I do agree with the idea that one button in and of itself shouldn't just delete somebody. You shouldn't be able to hit a button and then boom, they're dead. You should be able to do a little bit of damage with your other abilities and then hit that button and, actually use a full combo and delete them. It requires more skill to use a full combo to completely delete a hero. Just going in and hitting focus and boom, they're gone, that's a little bit broken. I'll agree with that. But
see, I don't. The fact that now Trip technically has less focus generation than usual, the focuses are supposed to be powerful. That's what they're for. The focuses are generally like they generally take some skill to generate up. You can use them to either do a high damage or high utility attack, or you can use them to upgrade points. And no, I'm not a Trip main. He's like Sven.
Yeah, he's a Sven main.
I'm a support main, and I throw Trips in the garbage can. But it's like, the focus, the Trip focus has been changed a lot, and I mean not a lot, but like enough to be recognizable. her start animation is actually relatively long. Like she does this little jump in the air.
Yeah.
There's the focus sound of that like that I don't know. I don't even know what to describe it as.
The electricity. Yeah.
And then she dashes forward and she stops at a target. You know what Taito does? He dashes forward twice as long, does instant damage to multiple people, and bleeds them immensely. Not to mention that his travel time is almost instantaneous. And you can still dodge it. You side dodge. There you go. You just
That too.
You just
Her
stop
focus
a
is
trip
easily dodged as well.
You've just blocked a Taito focus. Side dodge trip. You just dodged a trip focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's not hard to dodge a trip focus, and even if you can't dodge it, a level 1 trip focus doesn't do that much damage at all. And if, again, like Nth Dimensional said, if you're going to blow a level 2 or 3 focus just to kill a Mozu, unless that Mozu is 16 and 2, you've just wasted your button.
Taito doesn't one-shot them, you're correct. But if Trip gets the focus off, if she's worked to do a lot of damage and then use it on a person that is essential to kill for your team to win a team fight, that's worth it. That's completely worth it, and in my opinion, completely balanced. If she hits that ability, she has worked her ass off to get the focus charge to do it. And she had the ability to get to the target and then obliterate them. Yeah. That's what assassins are for.
I think
that's what they do.
I think really what the biggest issue when it comes to Twitch's ability to do Trip's ability to do what she does is there's not as huge. I mean, there is more so now, but there's not as huge of a difference between a super high level Trip and a medium level Trip. It's easy to be great at Trip. It's very difficult to master her, but even then, the difference in capability on the battlefield between a master Trip and a good Trip is not big enough, in my opinion. It should be harder to do what you need to do on Trip properly. It should be harder to destroy an enemy team as Trip. It should be a lot harder than it is now, in my opinion. And I think that's really the only big issue.
She doesn't destroy a team, though. She's a single target assassin.
Exactly, but I think my main point is like, you can, just run around in the middle of an enemy team properly if you're a good Trip or a great Trip and subvert their strategy. But that is another, that just goes into it, like, that should be harder to do. It should be much harder to do. And there are a lot of problems that go along with her, but honestly, and like you said, her damage is not one of them. It's not her damage that is the main issue. Being able to one and done is her name. She's an assassin. That's what she needs to do. Her issues are much, much more complicated than nerf her damage.
Right.
Moving right along, because we only have so much more time.
We're running out of time, and there's something that you really want to discuss.
Yes, and this is going to probably be the last topic. I mean, we could have talked about data mining. They just data mined out a new hero, Beckett, and that's really interesting. I think I'd rather see what the community thinks of that before going forward. And I do like the fact that he disclaimed the fact that everything you see right now is not complete or may not ever be complete. I like that, but moving along to the big issue of today, the cancellation of the weekly playtests. The weekend playtests from Friday to Sunday have been canceled until further notice, until a major matchmaking bug is fixed. And I know that matchmaking bug, and I like the idea that they're trying to fix this, because as a live streamer, it is a huge problem to, have to wait 10 to 15 minutes between matches just to get a game. Like, that would be understandable on, another game where I'm maybe at the highest level of play and there's not that many people in queue, but there are a lot of people in queue. I'm getting into games within 2 minutes. I just can't actually play them because I'm being bumped out of it. So I'm fine with us wanting to take care of it, but, the cancellation of the weekend playtests opens up another big whole bag of worms, and the fact that now we have these newer players, these more casual players, people who are just here to play the game, who no longer have a place where they can do that. Because what do we have now? We have the 2v2 bug test days on Wednesday.
On Wednesdays.
Which
that
is
are only,
only
They're
for
only
bug
like
testing.
like 3 hours too, and
And they're
they're
only for bug
2v2s.
testings. So you
Yeah,
can't, like, it's encouraged not to play the game properly and only to be searching for bugs. They're basically just saying, hey, please be our, our testers here.
BRQA for 3 hours.
Yeah, be our QA for 3 hours. And then, we also have the 5v5 Gigantic Arena, which is only for competitive players, only for people who have 5 members of their team. And if you are a casual player who do have 4 friends that you want to play with, be prepared to get stomped into the dust for the next few hours. So now we've got all these casual players that don't have a place to go on weekends that say, you know what, fuck this. I don't want to play this game if they're going to do this to me. So there's a big player retention issue there. And all of that, opens up one even bigger issue. Because while, yes, this is a big player retention issue, and we need to worry about that, I'm fine with this one. What I'm not fine with has been one major issue that has been plaguing us for months. The lack of a multiplayer systems. The lack of party systems, the lack of friends list systems. These have been huge issues for months.
Yeah.
And not only has nothing been done on it, they haven't even said anything about it at all. Period. There have been so many people who have said, and we have our own friends. We have 3 of our own friends that said, hey, yeah, no, we're not going to play this game until there's a party system. And that's people we know who know that this is a big deal to us and are willing to come back to the game. What about people who aren't that big into the game? Like, yeah, no, I can't play with my friends. Fuck this. I'm never playing this again. What happens? Like, come on, guys. Like, this is not more of an issue to be working on. This is not a bigger problem.
We can throw Microsoft under the bus and say that it's their fault. I mean, it is
because that's the reason why we're
but
waiting.
it's just like there's so much to work on, and it's hard to think about. But it has been a super long time, and it's just like the fact that something is so integral like that, and it still is not. It's still not.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
It's not in the system.
Like, Valentine also makes a good point. They have also had more than a week to fix the matchmaking bug. They've had many more than just the 1 week to fix the matchmaking bug. Why is it now a priority? Because we're live streaming the game? Isn't party systems more of a priority because we're live streaming the game? Never mind the fact that the NDA drop was bungled completely. Like,
that's
never
its own
mind
topic.
that.
Like, that's its own topic.
Saying, hey, look, we kind of maybe want to drop the NDA here, but we don't want to put any video content on there. Only these people can have video content. And then, why would you let people do that? Why would you let people go ahead and stream the game when something so key to a multiplayer game is not in it at all?
Cabane, we're not saying that they made a horrible decision. It was just really badly timed.
Yeah.
When a lot of things recently have been things like the soft NDA drop, the streamers initiative for people that are willing to, stream the game and broadcast and display for other people to watch. And then now we're just like, well, here we are, I guess. You can play on Wednesday for 3 hours if you want, or you can sign up for a pickup tournament that happens on a single day and you need to dedicate your entire time to be doing it.
Yeah.
We're not going to keep open our servers for the weekend just so people can have fun and play the game. Yeah, people were getting annoyed that they couldn't party up. Yeah, people are getting annoyed that they don't have a friends list. Yeah, people are annoyed that matchmaking kind of sucks every now and again. But why turn off the entire weekend playtest now?
After we've just put ourselves on the field.
After we've already done all this. After we've just put ourselves out there for the rest of the gaming world to see us. Now everyone's going off. Like let's not even mention beta. Beta just opened a month ago. Like
so
a
let's
month and
stop
a half
beta
ago
now.
At most. There's so much I want to say. There's so much more that Shmoo wants to say, and I know that he does.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like I don't like that they've done this. It was really bad. But it doesn't discourage me from playing the game. I still do love the game, and I still do love the company and what they do and how they treat their community and how they love us a lot.
I
But
mean,
it's just
it's
there was
disheartening. It's a
it's
massive
disheartening.
pile
That's
of
the word.
shit. That
It's
is what it is.
disheartening.
And I'm more than happy to bathe in this massive pile of shit, but could we please at the very least address it?
Yeah.
That's my thing. Can we at least address the issues that are here? Because they haven't said anything about that. They haven't said anything about, the matchmaking like not the matchmaking problems, the friends list and the party systems. They haven't said, hey, look, we're working on this even.
Yeah.
They may have said it to individuals. I know they've said it to me. They've said, hey, look, yeah, we're working on it. They've said it in the game vlogs, hey, yeah, we're working on it. But it's not something that has been addressed to the community as a whole. And while I know this is a slippery slope, and this has been proven this to be the case so many times, but having sort of, hey, look, we're working on it, let's have it by the end of this, whatever, we're working for it by some point this time, would be nice. And I know it's a slippery slope, because then what happens when they don't reach that? Because programming is a thing, that takes time.
Programming is hard, and we know that because we talk to Greg, or at least I talk to Greg, on a semi-daily basis, and he's great. I love him.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I think
programming
that's the
is
big
kinda
issue.
hard. And it's coding and
Coding,
programming are a thing.
Yeah, but like this is the issue. Is like Motiga does have really bad planning when it comes to this stuff, because I feel like there are a lot of different voices vying for, and it's really what it is. It's everybody trying to do their jobs.
I love
That's what it
jobs so
is.
much right now.
It's, everyone trying to do their jobs in the sense like, hey, look, the programming team's working on this. It's taking time. Give us more time. And then the PR people saying, well, wait, we've got irate customers over here. Let's try and give them something to work with. And then that thing to work with is just it gets botched because the QA or this, that, or the other thing's trying to do their job and they need more time. And then we have Chris Chung saying, yeah, but I want this, which pushes everything even farther into it. They need to settle down.
Yeah.
Just settle down and say, hey, look, it's going to take a little while.
And Ellen Tepic, they are a new company, technically, but they're not new to the industry. Everyone that is part of that company, most everyone has been in the industry for quite some time. Like, they should know what they're doing. They should have their stuff together. And right now they don't. And it's really disappointing. I mean,
and I mean, disappointing, I guess, is a word for it. And even saying yes, they really should have their shit together by now. Really, that's more saying, hey, look, they've been working on this game, and it's been on the stage for over a year now, and they still haven't figured out how to properly deal with PR, relations. And I can't blame any individual person over there for that, because that's just wrong to say. I can't blame Thor for wanting to put out the Streamers Initiative at this time and give people what they want, because that's something that's very near and dear to him, and he's just doing his job. I can't blame Troy for, issues within the PR set, getting information out to everybody and whatnot, because, again, he's just doing his job. So I can't blame any individual person. It's just disheartening to see from a company that loves their community so much that they're screwing up on a lot of community-based things. Bringing out the NDA and allowing people to stream the game at a point in the game development when it's just not conducive for player retention.
Yeah.
When it doesn't help people.
It's not productive. It's completely not productive.
Yeah.
It doesn't keep players wanting to come in, because players can't play with their friends. Players can't, they can't group up with people that actually do stream and just be like, hey, can you teach me how to play the game? And
that's a big thorn in Baz's side. Like, he felt very betrayed, because that's one of the biggest things for him is he was able to coach. Like, that's what he wants. He wants to be able to coach players and do that. And he can't do that.
Yeah, and not to mention that's a thing that's kind of been a staple for a long time with these events that they've gone to. We've had community coaches come in, for PAX South last year, probably for PAX South this coming year, and then PAX East, you and I were there. PAX Prime, they brought a bunch of people in. Perry was there, and Baz was there. But was Baz
Remember
there?
when coaches mattered?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pepperidge Farms remembers. Seriously, it's like all these things that, why showcase, all this stuff to the world? Why drop the NDA now and showcase these major issues? And when are they going to be not even when, but like, are we actually working on them?
Yeah. Are
Because
we
people
actually
have been.
working on them, and when are they going to be done?
I don't
When
even
are
care
they
about
going to be
when.
done?
I don't even care about when. I just want to know that they're working on it. That this is a
Yeah.
huge thing on their list, and I want to know: is there something even in the works right now? Is there something that is actually in development right now that's kind of sort of working, but not really? And
Mhm.
if it is saying, so much as saying yes, but Microsoft is doing this, that, and the other thing, and it's making it hard, can we at the very least be told that?
Yeah.
I'd like to know that it's not their fault. And while I like to say, hey, they better do it soon, not later, because I mean, screw those guys, right? I feel again, like we said before, it's a
Ooh, Ellen
slippery slope.
Tepic.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Alan Tepic better do it soon because October 27th they have Overwatch coming out, and we know that's going to be a finished game. We know that's going to be a big deal, and I know they're probably working on it. But again, it's something that they need to really broadcast to everybody, not just the select few who are asking.
Yeah. Was there anything else you
Because
wanted to say?
there's so much more that I'd like to say, but really, when it comes right down to it, a lot of the other things that I have to say, fall under this main banner of this is all just very poorly timed. They're focusing on things, and bringing stuff out into the limelight that shouldn't be out. They shouldn't be doing this, but it's all out on the field now, so how are they going to deal with it? Because they have what I would consider a world-class marketing team. Like they said, they have a great PR team that is just having a hard time doing their job. How are they going to handle it? And I want to see them handle it. Because that, right there, I mean, in the face of all this adversity, in the face of all these problems, it's how they handle it. It's how they overcome these issues that are going to showcase to me whether or not this game is still worth it to stick around with.
I mean, I'm gonna play the game regardless. I
Oh,
still
yeah.
think it's a very fun game.
Definitely.
I just
But it's how are they going to handle these major problems that they have with the game? When is it going to happen? And is it going to be worth it? Is it going to overcome a lot of the issues that were in the game before all this happened? Like, how many people are going to still play the game even though it's Windows 10 exclusive? Is this game even going to be a viable esports title because of not enough people actually watching and caring about the competitive scene? Is this game going to actually make money for them because they don't, if they had, are they going to have enough people even playing the game? I want to see if they can overcome these issues in the coming weeks and months.
Yep.
And that is honestly going to be right then and there the difference between us doing hey, look, this is our 50th, 60th, 70th, 80th episode or whatever, a year down the line, a couple years down the line, and we're still going strong, and 20 episodes down the line saying where it went all wrong. That's what the difference is going to be.
Wow, that was a really good analogy. I really like that. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Yep.
There's a lot that could happen between then and now, and we really just need to wait and see what goes on.
Yep. But that is going to really be about it. This has been the State of Gigantic with me and to Wolfman. It's really, again, all of this has been a big salt fest, but it honestly needed to happen. Definitely needed to happen because, we've been hyped up time and time again, and we have seen little to no payoff for it. So it had to happen at some point. But thank you guys so much for going ahead and watching.
Valentin doesn't want us to go.
You don't get to leave. Anyway, but thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you all being here. We've had a fantastic crew of you guys. Probably one of the more active chats that we've had.
Yeah, this has been our most active chat and our biggest viewing for sure.
Fantastic, and I love that. This thing is going to be going to be up on our YouTube by the end of the day. It is going to be highlighted here. I was local recording all of this. We do have all the local recordings for the past bull rushes. We're still working on how exactly we're going to get this out onto our website so you guys can watch this on your mobile devices. But in the meantime, do feel free to go ahead and follow me at Schmoolydorf, to Wolfman at Wolfman. You can go ahead to either of our Twitch channels that we don't stream that much on right now because we can't.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Schmoogleydorf or Twitch.tv/ToWolfman. Follow Go Gigantic Unleashed at GG Unleashed. It's the one right there in the center there. Feel free to go ahead and go to the website, ggunleashed.com. You can go ahead and read some fantastic articles by ToWolfman as well. And just really stick with it, guys.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Stick around. We'll make it. We're trudging the mountain together.
Climb every mountain. Sorry.
Climb every mountain.
Oh, God.
I can't hit that note. I don't know why I did that.
No. I'd like to hear Thor hit that. I'm sure he could. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, this has been Schmooglydorf and the Wolfman, and we will see you next time.
Bye, friends.